All right, this is the beginning of the project. This is a half
This is
bath,
Donald Rush,
and
we're converting
turning it
this
into a
half
full bath.
into a full bath. And hopefully we're gonna knock this out in 3 or 4 days, and I'll give you an idea of what all the expenses look like. And I'm going to try to record part of the progress.
It actually wound up taking a full month, and that's the date on the last photo of the project.
Tackling this and
all in all, I think I spent somewhere around 14 days of work, but it may be a little longer. A lot of the days were not full days because we do have other things going on. So if you were able to commit full days consecutively without distractions, possibly I could have gotten it done in 10 days, maybe 7. But it definitely was a lot longer project than I had hoped initially. Right here you can see that I'm trying to get this side splash off and trying not to damage the drywall because I don't want to patch if I don't have to. But I'm about to get frustrated and just break it in little pieces. You can use a little piece of wood behind the pry bar if you don't want to damage the walls. Sometimes you use that, like taking off baseboard and things like that. But here, I just beat it into pieces. And that created a lot of extra work to patch that little piece of drywall right there. So had I been a little more patient, maybe I would have appreciated that. But try to clean up as I go. There's a trash can out there. Oh, another nice thing about this project is they had fleas really bad. And so I bombed the house several times, and I would have to check myself before I left to make sure I didn't have any fleas on me. Of course, I didn't want to take any home. And I found fewer and fewer as I left, but there for a while I was finding quite a few. I found that if I didn't walk through the house, I had better chances of avoiding them. By the end of the project, I believe I successfully killed all of the fleas. And so it was all good. Here you can see I'm cutting around this, trying not to mess up the plumbing, but I did not know yet that I was going to have to rip all that out and move the plumbing anyway. So effort wasted. I could have just cut it off flush, but I didn't realize that at the time. This thing just barely would fit through the door, and in the process damaged my sunglasses. Thankfully, Shady Rays replaces damaged glasses for free, so I just went on the website and asked them to send me another pair. I'm going to drag this through the house because I'm there by myself, so I put a piece of cardboard under it, and that's kind of what's going on here, and then I slid it the rest of the way out. Removing a toilet is fairly easy. Just turn the water off, flush the toilet to get the water out of the tank, and then if you keep the toilet level as you take it out, you won't spill very much water. But if you want to be a little more careful, then you could drain that into something. Always put a paper towel in the drain before you do any more demo work. You don't want little debris falling in there. That'll cause you problems down the road. Taking this tile up took quite a long time. It was a mess. Since then, I bought a pneumatic scraper, and it works pretty good. It just hooks up to my air compressor. Here, I'm still trying to be really careful with this plumbing, try not to damage it. Ultimately, I wind up cutting the drywall out, moving the drain, and the hot and cold water. So again, all of this was really pointless, but oh, that was something nasty in there.
Okay, so I got the tile all up, and I got the hardy backer board up, and the last thing is to take all the hardy backer screws out. And I found a little...
I'm taking all the screws out because I don't know why I had that little screwdriver.
The square, there's a square bit, hardy backer screws. So I'm going to do it now with this, but I've taken
I had a plan for it. I don't remember what I used it for.
Is to take the screw bar and the spinning sledge, and just to...
Yeah, so I'm just ripping these screws out. Those are the screws that were holding down the backer board.
made a line with my level, taken a measurement, I subtracted. I got my shot back here.
This part I'm using this oscillating saw, and I really enjoy that for cutting drywall. It ruins the blade, but it's great. And here we're trying to not break the drywall into little bitty pieces. I've had to clean up the mess from a overexcited demo day guy, and it just takes too long. So if you can get the drywall out in big pieces, it's makes life a lot easier.
I could just attack this wall.
That's me saying I don't want to attack the wall. I forgot to cut out around the plumbing down there. There's a cutoff valve for the toilet. Ultimately, we wound up moving the toilet over and installing the shower drain. You can see the vent pipe there. Yeah, so soldering copper, not as hard as I thought it was, but definitely takes some practice. And the big thing is the different sort of situations you find yourself in, like where it's real tight or it's next to something flammable, where there's water in the line. This particular joint is a adapter that attacks the PICs to after the fact. It was pretty easy, but I did have some parts. Yeah, I'm talking about how I'm trying not to burn the house down. But yeah, they did have some parts of this where moving the copper for the vanity that I had to redo because I didn't get a good solder on the joint, and it had a little leak, small drip. So I had to cut it. I had to heat it up, take it off, clean it, and do it again.
So, there you go.
If you've not tried PICs before, the tools are relatively inexpensive and easy to use. The PICs pipe is easy to cut. And you just put these little rings on there, and you crimp them shut. The tool makes a little click. I don't know if you're here because this is fast forward, the sped up video, but there's a little click at the end. I don't know if you just barely heard that, but it lets you know that it's tight enough. And so yeah, I capped that one off, and then eventually installed the hot water and the shower valve. The hot water is just sticking down below, and I'll connect to that when I move all the water from the toilet supply. And here I'm cutting the Hardy Backer. The carbide tip tool they use is ideal for cutting that, and screwing it to the wall, making sure to put screws relatively close together. There's little indicators, little spots on the board that let you know where the screw should go. Now I'm putting in the waterproof sealer. I went over the joints with tape and sealer first, and then I went back and put man, I'm so sweaty. But I went back and put 2 coats on the areas that the water would primarily be hitting. I only put 1 coat in the higher spots that water wouldn't be directly touching. And then I went through and caulked the joint, the gap, I should say, between the Hardy and the shower pan. Now, at this point, I've made it part of the way. Singing a little there. So I started installing the tile. Just use spacers along the way. And because there was quite a bit of measuring and cutting and the time between each one, I didn't put any of the then set directly on the wall. I just put it on the tile as I went. That way I knew what consistency it was. It wasn't drying up on the wall. Oh, and let me draw some special attention to my plastic that I taped up. I taped that up on the wall, and then I collected the plastic down in a bucket below the saw so that all the water that sprayed off the back of the saw went in the bucket, and it let me cut in the room versus having to walk outside to cut. So I think sped things up a little bit, although I will say this took way longer than I had hoped that it would. And then it went all the way up with all right, this is underneath the house. I had to move the toilet drain and
Remove that.
yeah, that was an experience.
We're gonna move that down and move the toilet, move the vent.
Not a lot of room to work.
Move the,
A lot of respect for the plumbers out there that make this stuff look so easy.
move the,
I, out of principle, just did it myself because I wanted to do this whole project start to finish. In the future, I will just hire a plumber. It's worth it. Drain lines are hard. I put down the linoleum myself, thanks to the flooring guy that had the remnant left over, gave me that for free. Thank you. And then we added the vanity after all the drywall patching was done, hung the new light, and that's the finished project. The glass doors got installed after the fact, and I didn't take a picture, but I should have. That's it. I hope that was helpful, and hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.